parents owe us everything and we owe them nothing.
Jeez, buddy. And I think we might disagree on this. As much time as they want to spend with us, I think they deserve.
The worst is like when you are trying to help your parents and they disregard everything that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why can't you buy your own house?
Well said.
Thanks, buddy.
Well said, bud.
Thanks,
well said,
buddy.
Yeah, no comment. Is it worth assisting your immigrant parents financially if it means that like you are sacrificing your own funds that like you will be needing in your 20s?
Welcome back to another episode of Difficult Dish. In today's episode, we are talking about what we feel like we owe to our parents. Okay, this was originally going to be an episode where we talk about what we owe, what we feel like we don't owe, but we yapped so much, so this is actually going to be part 1, and then in part 2 we're going to talk about what we feel like we don't owe. And this episode we have some controversial topics. Okay, some things that you might feel like is something that we shouldn't owe, something that we shouldn't do for our parents, might be something that like the older generation thinks that we should do more of, but we are going to be honest with things that we have been doing for our parents, things that we feel like they deserve from us as an adult. So it could be us taking them on vacation, us giving them financial security with adult jobs. It can be just us giving them time, maybe with some boundaries, maybe not with some boundaries. But we have so many opinions on this subject, especially as child of immigrants. Who knows that like our parents made a lot of sacrifices. Make sure to comment some things that you might not agree with or agree with, because we are always happy to listen to the feedback. But I hope you enjoy this episode.
Welcome back to another episode of our wonderful podcast that we do over here, and it's called
Difficult Dish.
Hosted by my co-host, my fiance.
Your what?
My fiance.
Your fiance. Oh wow, I like the sound of that. Mahua Khan and this man right here, who's also my fiance. With the little asterisk. Oh no, not an asterisk. What's like that? It's like a curve, like over the.
It's not an apostrophe. It's like a.
Like the senor. Like senor.
you know
the little thing.
I know what you're talking about. It's
like French people do it, okay. Also Spanish people.
Yeah, all people.
So wait, what's her name? We didn't hear.
Ashnoon. My name. Before we get further, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, rate the podcast, review the podcast, and listen to our most recent episode. Because if you just like for whatever reason just don't know, or like just skip that one, or just you're
but maybe they skipped it like purposely.
Maybe you just don't give
maybe
it.
They just
don't give a damn. Imagine someone listens to every episode except that one.
Yeah,
that is unbelievable. If you guys didn't know, we're engaged. Casa the bag, casa the bag, put a ring on it. Yeah, and well, it's been like 2 weeks.
Can you believe that there's like actually people who have been listening to us consistently for the past 3.5 years? Oh my god, they're the best sibling duo ever.
I love this brother sister podcast so much.
No, because we got so many comments on our engagement posts. Oh my god, you guys aren't brother sister?
Yeah, we got a lot of that.
It's so funny because my best friend commented that, right? Tell me why her comment has
everyone's like
30 likes.
True.
Oh, true. I thought the same thing. Like she did it as like a spoof, as a little parody comment. But like,
Difficult Dish. Your
it's
favorite.
just wild that people really thought that.
Yeah, favorite family pod.
I think it's just because we're not as like like in your face.
Yeah.
Romantic.
Yeah. Facts.
But I hope it's like clear now.
Yeah, I mean
I'm not engaged to my brother. That's not what happened.
When we made like our dating episode, I titled it "Surprise, We're Dating."
Right.
This one I made "Surprise, We're
Engaged." I caught onto that.
You didn't catch that.
I caught that.
You didn't catch that.
See, like even knowing that episode's out there in the air, why did anyone think that we were still sibling to it? Like we have 3 episodes back to back.
Nah, it was a while ago. It was like 2 years ago or something.
Okay,
we got new listeners.
But I'm thinking like genuinely, if I had started a podcast with my brother,
that'd be hilarious.
It'd be actually really funny. But I think he'd get canceled right away.
Why did you not want to do a family pod?
We can.
No,
I just didn't want to do it for a proposal episode.
No, I wanted it separate from that. Like, I really want to do like
we can do a family episode. But we need more mics.
But we had family here and you didn't want to.
We had family here, but that was the week we were recording our podcast for our proposal.
We could have had one from like their perspective.
All right, well.
I want a family pod.
Next time, I got my brother who says a lot of questionable stuff. Younger brother energy.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, because he's worse than you. So
your
you feel
brother is genuinely one of the funniest people that I know.
Okay. Well, how do you think he got funny? Because he got a funny older sister.
No, honestly, like, sorry to like burst your bubble, but like your brother is just naturally funny. He's literally one of those types of people that like he could say anything. Like it's just
he's
funny.
just, you know what it is?
You
Like as the
could, like,
older
sit back a
sister,
little bit?
as like the older sister,
Yeah.
it was inevitable that he had to get like a lot from me, you know, and like the humor passed down to him as well. You understand? So like when Mashoud and I first started dating, one of his first compliments that he ever gave me that I screenshotted that I still have now is that like, oh my god, you were like pretty funny. Like, oh my god, I didn't know you were so funny.
Listen, I was just trying to, you know, like,
no,
sometimes you gotta fabricate. You gotta like,
no, you didn't
accentuate some things.
You didn't fabricate. You weren't trying to like,
just give your brother some credit. Say, yes, my brother is funny.
Yes, my brother is funny. He is funny. It's true.
Yeah,
and guess what? I am too.
Okay. You know something that I didn't say last episode?
Yeah.
That like I just like forgot to.
In the engagement episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel I've been so like, it's been so hard to just like do the pod for like the weeks coming up to, because like in the start of every pod you would ask me like, oh, like what's going on, what's new, like what have you been up to, and like I'm just like fuck, like I can't say anything. I wanted to talk about all the bullshit I was going through so bad. I had so many stories I could share with y'all, but I had absolutely nothing, you know.
Yeah.
So like I'm feeling a lot better.
No, it's also funny because like 2 weeks leading up to the podcast, me and you like barely talked. I'd be like, oh, how are you, like,
bro, I didn't know what to say, bro. All I was doing was like working on this proposal.
Yeah.
So you would ask me, and I would just like, I knew like the week of, you probably hated me. You probably thought I was like,
no, that's why so many girls have freakouts like a week or two before the proposal, because they're like, oh my god, my boyfriend hates me, and they don't want to be with me anymore. Yeah. And they feel like the guy's distancing themselves from the girl. Yeah. I didn't really feel like that with you, but I did feel that something was different.
Sorry, buddy.
So I'm glad you're back. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm here. What's new? Like anything new?
Nothing really new.
You want to share the big news?
Big news is coming soon.
Oh, okay. Never mind. How would you do that?
No, like my family and I have been very stressed recently just because there's a move that has been happening. Wow. And it is a very big deal in my family. So I have been prepping for that. My entire family has been prepping for that. Yeah. And it is something that we're very proud of. But
it is.
You know, that will come once it's like truly in fruition.
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
It truly is coming.
I'm going to Florida. I'm going to Raul Alejandro, his concert.
I heard really good things about his show.
Yeah, me too. Because he's like a real like performer. Like I love like real performance.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you like about his performances?
Nah, he's like the Chris Brown of like Latin music. Apart from all of the nonsense, you know, when it comes to like the music and like performance wise, he's like, you know, he dances, like he's more of a dancer than like an actual artist, and he's like a real like showman. Like he's very like Michael Jackson type of energy. Like,
yeah, I think the thing about like male performers nowadays is that they don't like do much like choreo and like
that's all he does
much on the stage.
And like even when I saw him at what's the one, the festival in Queens?
Global.
No,
it's not Global. The Flushing one.
The Flushing one. I saw him, and like even that, he only had like a 30-minute set, and even that was like phenomenal.
Rolling Loud? No, never mind. Sorry, it wasn't Rolling Loud. It was something else. I forgot.
the most opposite thing you can say.
The one at Flushing, you know, the big
Governor's Ball.
Governor's Ball. That's the one.
But see him there. Yeah, I'm going to Orlando, and then I'm going to Orlando again for either. We're going to Orlando.
Yeah, our first fiancés.
Yeah, a lot of family time coming up. So,
yeah,
you know,
excited for that.
Yeah,
too
what's
much
up?
Sometimes.
What's up? What are we doing in this episode? You want to get us started?
Yeah, I'm excited about this episode because we are talking about things that we feel like we owe to our parents, things that we feel like we do not owe to our parents. You know, and as people who grew up in America, who still has like the Bangladeshi culture and like some of the traits and customs that we grew up with, there are some things that we feel like we owe as children of immigrants for parents that sacrifice everything for us. Yeah. But also as people that grew up in America, you know, some might say that our generation is asking for too much and too lazy and this and that. But anyway, with the modern generation, we feel like there are some things that we don't owe completely. Yeah. Right? Facts. And some might be controversial, right? Oh. Because the older generation might feel like we are spoiled for not giving our all to our parents, the same thing that they might have done for their parents, right? And other people might disagree with us.
Yeah.
But this is just our hot take.
Yeah.
And I'm actually excited because like I was looking through some of the responses we got on our Instagram story when we posted about this episode. And some responses were kind of like
hot,
like a diabolical.
Holy.
Diabolical responses we got.
Holy. So, I can't wait. I didn't even look into them.
Yeah, I looked into them.
So that catch me by surprise.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, this is good episode. Good, like topic that we can talk about.
I actually was inspired by this episode by another podcast that I was listening to, and they are called Soju with Sarah. So
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good podcast that I just got introduced to, where she has like a drink of soju or whatever drink in the beginning of the episode, and that's how she starts it off.
Yeah,
but she made an episode about this topic also as a child of immigrants, so I thought that we could put our little twist on it, and talk about some of the similar things that she also talked about.
Daishi version.
Daisy. How about how people pronounce it like Daisy? What's your thought on that?
Bro, my friend Imran, what was he saying? I don't know if he said it in front of you. You said it in front of me.
He did, because you called him out.
He said Desi.
Oh, Desi.
I want to slap him in the face. What the hell is that? That is
Desi.
I don't know. I hear a lot of people say Daishi though.
Daishi?
Yeah, for Bangladeshi.
Like Daishi?
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah, okay. So like, what's up? Like,
you want to start? Or you want me to start? I can start off if you want.
Yeah, start off. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me clear my throat so I can like get into it. You know? Something that I feel like we owe to our parents, especially if you have money, with your adult job as you get older.
Yeah.
I think that you deserve, or your parents deserve, for you to take them on vacations.
Facts.
Because
I agree.
You agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think as you get older, and maybe you have this newfound freedom for the first time, newfound independence for the first time, especially if your parents didn't really let you do like much of the traveling growing up by yourself, if they told you to just study and stuff. It's normal that you want to do that with like your friends, right?
Yeah.
You get adult money, you want a taste of freedom, you do it with your friends, right?
Yeah.
Or when you get married, there are brown girls that get married and they're like, oh my God, I can finally do the things that I want to do with my husband. Which I also understand, because maybe they didn't get like that independence growing up. But I feel like it's also important to bring your parents along too. If you have a good relationship with them, not even the best relationship, but like you want to build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm not talking about like the toxic parents that you don't talk to. But I just feel like they should not necessarily be like an afterthought, or like bringing them on a vacation, you feel like it's a chore. Yeah, obviously sometimes it's stressful. Like I've taken my mom to places and it is very stressful. But I think it should be given more priority.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What if your parent is like, nah, I'm not going on no vacation. I don't need no vacation. I don't care about no vacation. Yeah. But like like they deep down so what do you do in that situation?
This is hard because like I go through this in the daily.
Yeah, every day.
I go through this every single day. I try to bring both my parents on vacations. Me and my brother try tag teaming and bringing them on a vacation. To this day, I've never successfully brought my father on a vacation with me, because
that's true.
Overworks himself. He feels like there's no time. He also thinks that spending money on anything other than a necessity, but bills, is a waste, right? Which I understand. He, doesn't have the best relationship with the money. So I don't have much advice for that. My mother, on the other end, she is more than happy to go on a vacation. Before I even book anything, before I even invite her anywhere, she was like, take me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. I'll be like, I'm going on a solo trip. She was like, take me. It's not, that defeats the point of a solo trip, right? So I think it just varies. But also, my brother and I have tried to do this thing where, especially my father, who gives us a hard time, we'll just be like, oh, it's already booked.
Yeah.
Because then it makes him more scared, and he'll be like, oh, then it's wasting money if I don't go on this vacation.
You did this recently, no?
Yeah, I tried doing it recently. It didn't work.
Right.
It didn't work. And by the way, it was a lie. We didn't actually book anything, but it was just trying to get him to, go, and it didn't work. But you've brought your mom especially on vacation, right? So how was that?
Yeah. My mom is quite alike as your mom. My mom, will just be sitting. She'll be like, "Mashin, take me, take me." I'm just like, I'm going to work. She doesn't want to go anywhere. So my mom's not the issue. Honestly, my dad is not the issue either.
So what's the issue?
I think just. What is the issue? Dude,
you just have no money?
No, it's not even. I think my sister and I have just been quite preoccupied over like the last couple months, so we just haven't even made the stride to. Like, I know me and my mom went to Bangladesh last year, but ever since that, we haven't really done nothing.
Yeah.
And that brings me, before I ask a question, I guess, like, I agree.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that, like, as you get older, your priorities shift, right? Especially now that we're in the age of like engagement, marriages, like bachelorettes, whatever. You have other commitments to friends outside of your family. Like, for example, I have, like bachelorettes and like weddings already planned for this year outside of the state or country or whatever. And it's hard, especially with like a busy life and having a full-time job or maybe living away from home, to prioritize your family within trips or like within visits or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which I completely understand. But I think you have to like prioritize that by planning something like a few months beforehand, because also if your parents do work like mine do, like they have to take off of work and actually like make that, part of their schedule to take that time off.
Yep.
And my first time that I ever took my mom out of the country or just like anywhere with my own money was when we went to Paris and Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back then, it was 19, right? Which is such a young age to do something like that, like international trip. Although she did pay for like the food and stuff when we did go out. I think the biggest thing, like I'll admit it now at 26, like I brought her to that place. Like, yeah, I wanted her to explore the world because she's never done that, coming to America. But also I knew that like I couldn't go by myself. She wouldn't let me. And I knew I had no friends to go with. So I was like, okay, let me bring my mom along.
Yeah,
but then from then on, in the past 6 years, that has like, catapulted into different trips that I brought her just for fun. Like I brought her to Bangladesh last year, which was like her favorite trip ever that she still talks about. She literally like, there's only 2 brags that my mom tells people about me. And it's
can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Bangladesh is one?
Yeah, Bangladesh, but like a specific part of the Bangladesh trip.
Oh, the charity, going to schools, yeah.
Yeah, me like donating, like giving all these kids education.
And masters?
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Those are the top easy. 2 brags that she does, right?
Yeah.
And also when she does brag, she'll be like, yeah, like, my daughter brought me to all these places, Belgium, Paris, Bangladesh, California. Which one of your daughters is like, why are you gonna do all that? Why are you gonna do all that? But I think when you really think about specifically for my family, like we didn't have much money growing up for extra money for trips, and like my parents were working all the time. Our priority was never like vacationing. So I think now that I'm older, I think that's like a priority of mine where I try to bring them somewhere, so I just think it's important. I know some people might not feel like it is, but I think it's you're assigned to take some time off work and plan something like that. It doesn't have to be grand. It could literally be like outside of your own city, to the beach even.
A little beach night,
just some quality time with one of the parents.
I got a question.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a tough question.
Oof.
Maybe you might want to cut it out. I don't even know.
Wow.
But say like,
if I don't answer, can you answer?
Nah.
No, like you can't give me all the tough questions.
Because it's also like a real life situation.
Okay.
So you are now my fiance,
okay.
right?
What do you keep saying like that? Like you're not.
Say like I want to go on vacation with you, but I also want to go on vacation with my mom.
Like at the same time?
No, not at the same time.
Okay, I don't
understand. I just don't have like the bandwidth to just like do,
so you're
do both.
Broke man? Like
not even bro, it's just time. It's just it's money. Right? Like what do I like?
I mean, obviously me, I would understand that, but it's like, what's the time frame? Like within the same month?
No, just like in general, like within like the next couple months. I guess the answer would be like try to do both, Yeah,
but like, I mean, you would try to do both, but it's also like if you have something booked in August,
yeah,
and then you're also like, okay, let me plan this other thing with my family also in August. Like, whose fault is that?
No, okay, let me like expand this question. Like say like, all right, like for you, like say you get like a brand deal, like something like some tropical vacation, 2 nights somewhere, and like I would want to go with you, but I also know you would want to take your mom. So like how do you decide like which one to do?
Well,
you know?
I just think that, you know, inshallah, there are so many more years of my living.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I can't take you somewhere, if I can't take my mom somewhere,
yeah.
I know another opportunity is going to arise.
So who are you taking?
I think it would just be like my mom if she's able to go.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just like want to know
like
like your thought process. Yeah,
like I know that me and you are able to go whenever. Like we have flexible jobs.
Yeah.
We are able to go with our own money, whatever.
Yeah.
But for my mother, like if it's during the summertime when she's not working as much, then it would make sense for me to take her.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good question.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
just like real question for me.
Yeah, that was a real life question. You know?
Yeah.
All right, you have another one?
I do.
Let me know.
And I think we might disagree on this.
Oh no.
I think something that our parents do deserve is really like our quality time with them. Like as much time, obviously there's a limit, but I think, you know, that limit is debatable, but like as much time as like they want to spend with us, I think they deserve. Because, you know, I like, for example, there's someone in like my like extended family who like he does really well for himself. Like he makes a lot of money and he takes care of like all his bills, all like his mom's bills and like everything at home, but he's never home. He comes home like once, and he's not far. He's like an hour and a half drive away, like not far away. And he comes home maybe once, like probably now it's probably like once a month, but at some points it was once every 6 months. And I knew that like it made his mom quite upset because like obviously she's very grateful that everything's covered. You know, she didn't gotta worry about nothing. You know, she was still working, but she didn't have to. But you know, all she really wanted was just like to kick it with her son. You know, and like her son, like, you know, he's busy, he got his own thing going on, but like you can always make time for your mom, especially if like you know that your mom just really wants to spend some time with you, and like, you know, she's like counting down the days until she gets to like hang out with you again, you know. So I think, and obviously like there's a limit, you know, we can't be with them every single day of their lives, but as much time as we are able to give them, you know, I think that is what they deserve. You know, so
well, I don't disagree with that.
No,
I just obviously like what you said at the end. I think there are boundaries. Like if you want to move out, you know, which we both did, but they're so used to you being there all the time and they kind of want to prevent you from moving out or, you know, living away from home because they're so used to you being there and doing things for them and this and that. I think that might be unhealthy. But I think that if you are living close to them or close enough to them, like for example, you're a 2-hour flight away, I'm half an hour away from my parents. If you see them still frequently enough, like I have no excuse but to go to my parents' house at least every week and a half or 2 weeks. Yeah. You have no excuse to not go at least every 3 weeks or every month. Right? Yeah. I mean, you go every month-ish, right? Yeah. And I think it becomes a problem when you don't see them enough. Like, you know, they're in American culture, we're very like individualistic, right? And it's more common to see parents like on holidays only. That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. That's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the Aishwarya Rai interview. No. But there was an interview, I forget, she was like on a talk show, an American talk show, and then they were like, "Oh, is it true that you still live with your parents or like your in-laws or something?" And then Aishwarya Rai was like, "Yeah, because in Indian culture, you don't have to make appointments with your parents on just holidays." And she like really roasted them. Oh wow. But yeah, I think if you visit your parents only like twice a year, but again, it's hard. Crazy work. It's hard because like, you know, there's some people that live across the country or maybe even in a different country. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, but it's like if you're close, if it's like one of my coworkers, he his whole family is in Florida and he goes like 3 times a year. Like I remember when I was first talking to him. He lives in Florida? No, he lives here. Oh. Like he lives in Queens and he
family's down in Florida, and I remember when I first met him, I was talking to him. I was like, "Yeah, I go down to Florida like once a month." He was like, "Damn." Like I go, yeah. So.
But I do think you go a little bit more frequently in
facts.
terms of everyone else.
Yeah,
in
facts.
relation to everyone else.
Yeah.
Because it's like, instead of you going on your own travels for leisure or like doing something for yourself, you rather book that ticket to Florida.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's fine that you go that often, but I think you still need pockets for yourself where you have your own trips for yourself.
That's true.
You understand?
That's true. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you know, 'cause I think so many kids, when they get into like their mid, like late 20s, like they'll like they are okay with not being with their mom or dad as much, but like they sometimes lose sight of the fact that like their parents are not okay with that, you know, and like you just have to like sacrifice a little bit, you know, instead that weekend with your friends, just do a weekend with them, you know. And it's just you know, don't even call it a sacrifice, you know, like how in the grand scheme of things, how big of a sacrifice really is that? It's not, you know, you're just giving some time to the people that really love you, you know. So
yeah, I remember when I was doing my master's and I was you know, just doing so much for school. Every single weekend I would go home to visit my parents, which, you know, in hindsight it was a lot, just because those weekends were the only time to do my homework, catch up, do my laundry, and catch up on rest if I even had time for that. But I would go home for the weekend, which like I don't regret, because like it was still the in-between of me living by myself in the city and then, you know, still living from home, getting food for my mom and things like that. So it was like a good transition, but it was still a lot. I agree. Yeah. Like, you know, I wish I had some more time to myself during that time, but I still like appreciate that, you know. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, appreciate that. And
that like kind of transitions into what I'm gonna say next. I think if you have the means to do it, especially with an adult job, you owe to your parents financial security. And it's okay, let me explain. This is hard. This is very hard to do, because like, especially if you are in a career right after college that maybe doesn't make that much money, you know, it's your first like entry level job or whatever it is. It's hard to provide for yourself, your own livelihood while your parents are still there and you have to provide for them. I get it. It's a lot of stress. So like, I think you should do what you can, right? But like, you know, as you get older and older and you progress more in your career, I think that's the least you can do. You know, the financial security obviously on top of the time that you're giving them. And again, I think it's different, because it's different, but also a little bit extra stress, I feel like, because me and you always talk about how like, oh my God, isn't it crazy that when like Americans grow up, like, you know, white Americans grow up and they're told to be like more individualistic. They're not really expected to like give their parents their first paycheck and like help with all these bills. Obviously there are families that like expect that from you, or not even expect, but
like
you do that for them.
Their money is theirs.
Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of Americans grow up feeling like their money is theirs. All the money that they make from their jobs, they can just use it for, you know, their own house or life or vacation or whatever. Whereas when South Asians and children of immigrants, especially if you didn't come from money, grow up, you feel like there's this obligation. Again, you're not complaining, but it's like hard sometimes to feel like that, especially when you're in your young 20s, in your early 20s, to be giving all this extra money to like this big thing and like, you know, helping your parents pay off a house or a car or whatever when you can't even get yourself that yet.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, we're at that age where it's like, you know, we got our lives and we got our rent and we got our bills, and now we are trying to save for a wedding. We are trying to save for a home,
aren't we?
We are trying to save for all of the other things that involve us, and, you know, just things that are for us. But on top of that, we got everything.
The worst is like when you are trying to help your parents and they disregard everything that you're trying to do. Yeah. And then they're like, why can't you buy your own house?
That's the best.
It's like, we can't buy a house because we're buying you a house.
Where's all your money? Where does all your money go? You work so much. Where is your money?
And it's like, now that we're engaged, we're gonna get the question like, oh, when are you gonna get married? And I mean, I've been getting that question since birth. Yeah. Not really, but you know. And just, you have to have this kind of wedding. You gotta invite all these guests that you haven't even met or talked to.
God forbid I ask a finance related question.
But it's like they expect all these things from you, and I'm like, who's funding this wedding? Well, who's funding this wedding?
Yeah.
I'm funding everyone's livelihoods.
Yeah.
How do I have the money myself to fund my own wedding right now?
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what they'll pull?
What?
Oh, they did it.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard a lot of that growing up. They did it.
Yeah.
How'd they do it? Go ask them.
Well, they had money.
I asked them. Oh yeah, my mom and my dad helped me, of course, obviously. I'll come back to my mom.
No, the best part is like when I hear my friends and other people I know getting married, and they're like, yeah, like all the parents like went halfsies. I'm like, what? What the hell do you mean by that?
Halfsies.
Halfsies is crazy. Like
my mom would give half of her goddamn mango tree.
I think I was telling you, or I was telling my brother or something, where like someone that I know just got engaged, and her parents and then her fiance's parents are fighting over who to get her a house.
Oh.
And guess what, guys? Okay, I want to make a disclaimer. I am not mad when kids have money and when their parents are rich.
I am.
Okay, because like
I am.
This is a hot take. Okay, this is a hot take. Their parents worked hard. If they're a doctor, engineer, whatever, they worked hard to get that degree, and they are providing a great life for their kids. I would want to do the same thing as parents.
I'm so mad.
Giving money to my kids, if I can spoil them, I will, right? But my qualm comes from when these kids want to act poor, and they want to relate to like the majority. You cannot relate to the majority, okay?
That's a good take.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
Well, one thing is when they want to act poor, or like role playing poor, or because they're trying to relate to you as a poor person, like an actual poor person, or second, they want to be too flashy. Yeah. I said second, but I have 3 fingers up. Second. Yeah. You know, like the ones that don't want to acknowledge their privilege, and they want to act.
I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of like middle income, middle class kids acting like they're below middle.
I see.
Or like below average.
Yeah.
I saw a lot. I feel like that's a thing.
Yeah.
There's probably a word for it, and I hate it because like.
You want to coin a word?
Imbeciles.
Yeah, well, that's an actual word.
Okay.
Like, you can't just.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot of that. You know, it's okay to not be poor. I promise.
Yeah, and I promise that's okay.
I promise you.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
okay.
hate you. I'm not gonna hate you.
Anyway, you have one of your own? We said vacation, financial security, and spending time with their parents.
I have a question.
Oh.
A lot of questions.
You always ask questions when you have nothing to say.
No, just well.
Okay, fine.
No, I do. Like I have my own thoughts about this, but you know, to begin the points, you know, I'll ask the question.
Do I have to answer, or like, can I pass it on to you?
Share your thoughts for me, please.
Okay.
Is it worth assisting your immigrant parents financially if it means that like you are sacrificing your own funds that like you will be needing in your 20s? Like, say I make $3,000 a month and my personal bills are $1,500 a month, meaning I have $1,500 a month of my own money. And my mom, you know, a lot of time our parents are not going to really be asking for us. You know, sometimes they are, sure. But like, say like, you know that your mom needs help with like a $700 bill. You paying that $700 and giving yourself $700 a month?
Yeah.
You are?
I think you just got to eat it.
Damn.
I think it was especially hard when I had to do this, like when my parents needed money and things like that, because my brother wasn't at the age yet to work. So I was like doing everything on my own. And I think it was also especially hard because I wasn't able to really verbally express my struggles and how much I was making or how little I was making or whatever. So if they asked me for anything, which by the way, my parents never asked me for money. It was just me out of my own like reasoning and will wanting to help with the bills and things like that.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I just paid for like the phone bill, which I was like only able to do, right? And then from then on, I'm progressing and I'm doing my best to like help, and now I have my brother to help as well. I think obviously in the beginning, if you're not making as much money and your parents are asking you for money, it is very hard, especially because you have nothing to retain for yourself. So it helps a lot if you have a sibling, but also it's just like, I don't think parents want their kids' money, especially if they're not like financially okay themselves. So just try to do as much as you can and try to be honest. I think that's what I would change if like when I was younger. Not being honest about how much I was making and like making it seem like I was doing better than I was.
I did a lot of that too.
Yeah.
I think I did it for like my mom's sake, because I was taking care of a lot of things at home. And I think my mom knew that I wasn't making that much, but I think my mom was just so stressed, and I was happy to take off a lot, like the pressure on her shoulders, that I think a lot of times she tried to tell herself that like I'm doing better than I actually am, just so like she has more peace of mind. And I don't blame her, but like I think I used to spend like as if I made so much more than like I actually did, even to this day.
And
maybe
I think
it's
that's
just a me thing.
No, I think it just I can't remember if we made an episode about this, but I think it just tells more about this feeling of a reputation that you have to uphold, like looking more successful in their eyes, especially your parents, to feel like all the hard work and sacrifices that they made to raise you, and the school that they put you in, and this and that was worth it. You also don't want them to see you suffer. Like at this point, as they're getting older, you want to help them in any way you can without letting them see you in like pain or anything. You understand that, right?
Not really.
Yeah, it's hard. But I have one last one.
Oh.
Do you have one? Or that was it?
I mean, we could. I'll say real quick. I just said help with things that they struggle with. So like if they don't know how to like update their health insurance, or get a new car registration.
Yeah.
Why do we get mad at them for not knowing that? It is completely fine. They already do so much. Sure, we'll get like a little irritated, like, hey, you've been here for so long, you should know how to do some of these things.
Like when they continue to forget their password.
Like, okay, yeah, it's annoying, but like I'm not gonna goddamn like dismiss you as my mother for not knowing how to do these things. Like, okay, I'm just gonna do it for you and take one thing off of your shoulders, because like it's like my manager kind of gave me this talk where I was telling him like when I started, like, yeah, I would, I'm like I'm super like independent, so like if I have a problem, I'm gonna, even if it takes an hour to figure out how to do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do all the research, go through everything just to figure it out. And my manager is like, please stop doing that, like just send it to me, I'll tell you in 10 seconds and then we can move on.
Are you the hyper independent son?
No.
No, not the hyper independent son.
Sorry to break it to you
with
guys.
The hyper independent daughter. Oh no, what a duo.
Fantastic combo.
And now they're fiancés.
So yeah, if you just like that little shit, like just do it for them.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen it a lot, like just little shit that like kids will get mad at their parents for not knowing.
Yeah.
Like, all right, whatever, just fucking do it, and then complain like behind their back. Like, you don't gotta call them dumb in front
My
of
mom
their
was
face.
so proud of checking in an electronic check the other day. Through the bank app.
That's a big deal.
She was just like, oh my god, like I just took a picture of it and then I got the money. Like I just kept refreshing and I got the money, and I'm like, yeah, it's a big deal. Like when they're able to successfully do something.
Yeah, and
like,
you gotta be happy for them.
Yeah, you gotta be happy.
Honestly, you gotta be happy for them.
Like my mom knows how to email now, and like,
that's delightful.
Just crazy.
That's delightful.
Crazy stuff.
You want to move on?
Yeah, I got one
Things
more.
we don't know. Oh,
I have one more.
God, like
no,
how long is this episode gonna be?
Do we have to do a part 2, because I feel like this is so long? But I think we're gonna make them mad if we do a part 2.
Yeah, fucking.
We'll see.
Go ahead.
The last thing that I will say about things that we owe to our parents, something that might be controversial actually.
Oh.
We owe them empathy, because some people don't know how to be the bigger person. Because okay, I empathize, because it is hard for me to do this sometimes too. She's not lying. When you grow up with your parents, obviously they've seen you their whole lives, and there might be pain attached with some memories with them, and like trauma and this and that. Sometimes it's hard to detach yourself from those painful moments, especially in like high school, even as an adult, in that same childhood home, or like with that parent that you didn't have the best relationship with. It's hard to get over that and like build a relationship that's better. Yeah. So something that my brother is working on, that I've been trying to help him with, but again, it's very hard, is having more empathy for your parents, but also letting things go where you don't yell at them and like constantly feel like you have to have say over them and be right in an argument, and just like constantly be yelling at them or whatever it is, right? And this doesn't mean like excuse their behavior where like they're saying something racist and you just turn a blind eye. Like, I'm not saying that. But I mean, like, you don't always have to get like the last word in, and you don't always have to feel like you have to just like say your point when they're like upset about something or whatever, because unfortunately some people will not change, especially as parents get older and older. They're gonna be more like, you know,
stuck in
their ways, you know. And obviously some people do change, but some people do not. And I know my parents will have, there are great things that they've changed over the years, but there are some things that they're gonna be sticking with, right? And I think you just have to be comfortable with not always being right and not always getting your word in. Yeah, it's just like, it's hard to be the bigger person all the time. I always tell my brother, I was like, yeah, you as a 25-year-old man, you have to be the bigger person when it comes to, you know, my mom or my dad. And he's like, oh, it's like, why should I have to do that? Like, when are they gonna ever learn? And I'm like, honestly, regardless of whether they learn ever or not, you still have to do this.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna continuously not feel accountable for something. They're gonna continuously, you know, bring up the same thing over and over again. And it's like up to the kid as a younger person to just be the bigger person, not bring up the fight.
Yep.
And not just fuel the fire even more.
Yeah. Well said.
Thanks, buddy.
Well said, bud.
Thanks,
well said,
buddy.
Yeah, no comment.
I thought you'd like that one.
None to add to that. You know, that's all facts.
Yeah. I thought you'd like that one.
I agree. Nice.
So
Appreciate that, my boy. Want to move on? What's going on?
Do you want to do part 2 or do you want to make this into a...
I mean, yeah, I don't mind it.
Because,
yeah,
okay, genuinely, now that we're looking at it, because we've been recording for over 40 minutes, we have so many more things to say of what we feel like you don't owe to your parents. And we hate to do it because we never usually do this unless it's planned before. I feel like it'd be
better if it was like one episode, though.
Really?
I really do. Like the title of it, like...
But it's like, you know...
Could we speed round it? You know,
I don't think we're giving it enough like justice. I wish there was a live audience right now to give us a rating. You know,
like
whatever.
We could cut it off.
Okay,
we could cut it off.
All right.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, on our Instagram we let you guys know what we talking about before we talk about it on the podcast, and we ask you guys for your thoughts and opinions and feelings and insights on whatever it is that we are discussing. So if you're not already following us, please follow us on Instagram at
Difficult Dish.
And yeah, you know, stay tuned with the gang, you know, like
stay tuned for part 2.
You know,
I hate to do it,
but we got
but
a big team over here, you know.
just us two.
Just us two.
So on our Instagram story, when I told you guys about the episode, what we're filming, I asked, do we owe them all of our time whenever they want? Do we owe them financial security when we don't have our own? So much to think about, and I asked for your own thoughts, right? Someone said, my parents don't have retirement savings, so I feel obligated to support them. Damn. You know anything about retirement savings?
I know. I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it too.
I've heard of such a thing.
I've heard of such a thing too.
You ever heard of a 401k?
I did this year.
Shit crazy.
I learned this year.
Yeah, man. Apparently, like, you could, like, invest
their
some
kids,
money. And
their
like,
kids are the 401k.
No,
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like, what? I'd be a fool if I said I didn't agree. Like, I think we do owe them. You know, we can be as mad as we want about it, as, you know, we can complain. We can say, why don't y'all know how to do this and that? It's not gonna change the fact that they don't got one.
It's their first time living. It's, you know, especially for me, it's the first generation where they even came to the country. So we don't have generational wealth. Like, no one brought any money from across the world, and no one built anything here besides from when they moved here in the 90s. So, you know, we're just living day by day here. There's no such thing as like a retirement fund or education, you know, whatever. It's
some that I feel like we have to like highlight more and like give a little bit more empathy for is like the parents that try but failed, you know. I feel like we don't talk about that enough.
And guess what? Both our families did do that.
And I'm sure a lot of y'all families, like, you know, because adding on to what you said, they came here not knowing nothing, and they learned as much as they possibly could here.
They got burned.
And they tried as much as they could, and they built some shit. But unfortunately, shit didn't work out. And that's like, it's not fine in the sense of like, wish it worked out, but like, it is fine in the sense of like, you know, you tried.
Yeah.
And like, at the very end of the day,
And guess
That's all
what?
you can ask for.
We learned from their mistakes. We learned from their wins and this and that. So, yeah, it is unfortunate that sometimes kids are their parents' 401ks and retirement funds, and they have us to lean on, but that's also a good thing. They do have us at the end of the day to lean on.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is a lot more stressful for us, but
It's okay.
it's okay. We can do it.
we can do it.
We're raising our bread, raising our money just for this.
I'm not stressed at all.
All right, someone says something that might be a huge hot take.
Okay.
Parents owe us everything and we owe them nothing.
Jeez, buddy. What in the world? Who the hell said that? Your brother? God.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, that was a strong.
Is this a real person that said this?
This is a real person said that.
Golly, buddy.
I mean, okay, if we want to think about it from like a literal point of view, your parents your parents, our parents did make the choice to bring a human to earth, which is us or me. And we didn't ask to be here. So yeah, technically we don't owe them anything because they're the parents. They're supposed to give us everything since it was their choice to bring us in here. But like from like a ethical mindset, like I can't stand by that.
Honestly, like at first, like you're kind of spitting, but then like you think about it again, you're like, oh, you're a crazy person. That's all. How'd you get so close to me?
Oh my god. Again with this, guys. It's because my feet are falling asleep, so I keep getting closer in a different angle. You understand?
Right. Yeah, that's a crazy take. I mean, like I hear you, but like I don't feel you, you know?
Yeah. Someone said, people whose parents have passed away only wish they could have done more when they were alive. So I'll try and spend as much time as I can until it starts to seriously impact my life. Agreed.
Wow.
Agreed.
Wow.
I remember I saw this one graph on social media before where it shows like how much time you spend with your siblings and your parents from like age 0 to like, you know, older and older. And obviously from age 0 to 17, you're with them like 24/7 and you're spending the most time with them. But obviously when you're in like high school up, especially going to college on, it's like literally like 20% of your whole day in life, you know? And it's just so crazy, like the beauty and the ugliness of life.
Yeah, man, give them some time, man. Give them some time, you know, because I think a lot of the time, like, we'll just be sitting with them doing nothing, just twiddling our fingers on TikTok, and we'll just be bored out of our minds.
Why are we always twiddling our TikTok?
Oh, I'm wasting my goddamn time. I could be hanging out with, you know, Shorty, or I could be hanging out, you know, with the gang.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, your mom kind of just
your
likes
mom is Shorty.
Your mom kind of just likes sitting there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she kind of likes twiddling her fingers with you, you know? Like, watching a little natok or something.
Watching a little natok.
Feel me?
Seeing some tea, some drama.
Yeah, yeah.
That's key.
Yeah.
But that's a good episode. Yeah.
Yeah, go on, buddy. Go on, buddy.
I know, you know, we didn't really want to do a part 2. We did not think that we were gonna at all when we first started.
Yeah, we'll do that one
But
next.
as we were yapping so much, we had a lot to talk about in this episode.
Sorry, guys.
We have to cut it in too, just so we can give you like the honor.
We'll never yap again.
Yeah, we'll never yap again.
Never
Next
yap
episode
again.
will be 2 minutes long.
No, it'll be 50 minutes. Just
a smiling.
All
right, you got any 10-second piece of advice?
So
if you've been watching the video, you know Mashoon's been working out a lot. You can really tell, like, in his physique too.
Mean that?
I mean it.
Well, now I'm shy. I did this yesterday, and like it kind of hit.
Okay.
I made pancakes yesterday.
Okay.
But I added a scoop of protein powder to my pancakes. So they weren't protein pancakes. I have those too. Those are delightful. But
he's the biggest fan.
regular buttermilk pearl milling pancake mix, the very buttery, fatty kind. Just add a scoop of protein powder and it tastes wonderful.
You know, I want to start adding protein powder to my coffee. I've heard amazing things from 2 people already. I've never thought about doing that though.
Interesting. I hear a lot of people using protein shakes as like their creamer for coffee.
Ooh, that's smart.
You would like that?
That's smart. I think I might have to start doing that.
You would like that.
It's like a 2-in-1. I can skip so many things in the morning. Okay. You're
all about like just like
just shortcut in life. Yes, exactly. Shortcut in life.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's okay to enjoy something.
As a business owner, like you have
in the morning,
to do
you're
that.
like, I have to make my coffee.
Yeah, no, we'll
just
make
to
my
get
coffee.
to your desk, forget it there, and not even drink it at all.
I finished my coffee today. You didn't know that?
It takes you 8 hours to finish your coffee.
Because I really savor it and enjoy it. I like having a slow morning. Okay, God forbid a girl has a slow, soft life.
No, that's not.
Okay, anyway, my 10-second piece of advice is that if you are allergic to fake jewelry, or maybe if you're buying like cheap jewelry from Amazon or whatever that tarnishes pretty quick, consider buying those tarnish free like liquids that you can brush onto your jewelry that will help it last longer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who told you about this?
No one, but I just learned that as an adult I have an allergy to fake jewelry, so that just means I need real.
Well, you don't need that for that ring. I'll
Yeah,
tell you
for
that,
the
buddy.
rings,
I'll tell you that, buddy. I
Yeah.
dropped the lie.
Yeah. I don't need it for the ring, but this is your sign to buy me more gold. But anyway, I learned that I'm allergic to fake jewelry, so I had to learn the hard way, like how to protect it.
I'm allergic to fake people.
Yeah.
You understand?
You're allergic to a lot of things.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
Wait, we didn't put our Bangla word of the day.
Bangla word of the day.
I was thinking something in a sagul. That means goat.
Just like pansy. Oh.
Go.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, sagul means Bangla.
Okay.
In Bangla is goat.
Thanks, buddy. I don't got nothing else. We love you so much.
Hope this episode resonate with you. Make sure to comment, rate, review. It helps so much with just free podcast episodes like this. If we want to continue doing it, if you want to see it continuously. But we love you guys so much, and we will see you next week.
Allah
Hafiz.